Have you ever noticed something strange? The man who shows less interest often gets more attention, and the one who tries too hard slowly gets ignored. This feels unfair, confusing, even frustrating. But there is a deep truth behind it, a truth that most modern men have forgotten. Here it is. When you are always available, people stop valuing your presence. This is not about being rude. It is not about hurting others. It is about understanding human nature. Deep inside, people are drawn to what feels strong, stable, and a little out of reach. Think about this simple example. Imagine you are very thirsty in a hot desert. If someone gives you water easily, you drink it and move on. But if you see a clean water source protected behind a strong wall, something changes in your mind. You become curious. You feel drawn to it. You want to reach it. You start valuing it more. This is exactly how attraction works. A calm, controlled man creates that same feeling. He does not chase. He does not react quickly. He does not lose himself in emotions. And because of that, he becomes interesting. In the first few seconds, understand this clearly. When a man looks cold, it does not mean he has no feelings. It means he controls them. While most men react to every message, every delay, every small rejection, the calm man stays steady. He does not get shaken. And this creates curiosity. We are not talking about manipulation or playing games. We are talking about inner strength. We will understand this idea using the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. These men taught that true power comes from controlling yourself, not controlling others. By the end of this series, you will understand why silence can be more powerful than words, why mystery creates attraction, and how you can become the kind of man who does not need to chase anyone. Now, let's begin with the first concept, the mirror of self-sufficiency. The biggest reason why coldness attracts is not coldness itself. It is self-sufficiency. A stoic man does not depend on others for validation. He does not need constant replies, attention, or approval to feel good about himself. His happiness comes from within. As Epictetus said, a man is not free if he is not the master of himself. Let's look at a simple situation. An average man receives a message from a woman. He replies instantly. Then he waits. If she does not reply, he checks his phone again and again. Maybe he sends another message. His mood starts changing. If she replies, he feels happy. If she doesn't, he feels anxious. Now look at a different man. This man has a purpose. He has work, goals, a direction in life. If he gets a message, he replies when he has time. If she replies late, he does not panic. If she pulls away, he does not chase. Why? Because his emotional center is inside him, not outside. This creates something powerful called a mental challenge. Most people are predictable. They react the same way every time, and predictability kills attraction. When someone knows exactly how you will behave, there is no excitement, no curiosity. But when a woman meets a man who does not react like everyone else, her mind starts asking questions. Why is he so calm? Why is he not chasing me? Why does he not seem affected? These questions create attraction. This is not about acting different. It is about actually becoming different. Seneca once said that it is not that we have little time, but that we waste a lot of it. A strong man understands this deeply. He values his time more than he values attention, and this changes everything. In nature, the strongest animals are calm. They do not panic. They do not move unnecessarily. They observe. They act only when needed. But weaker animals are always nervous. They move a lot. They make noise. They react quickly to everything. Humans are not very different. When you are always reacting, always available, always trying to please, you send a signal without realizing it. You show that you are dependent, and dependency reduces attraction. But when you are calm, focused, and not easily affected, you send a different signal. You show strength. You show control. You show that your life is full, even without constant attention. And that is what creates real attraction. Now let's move to the second concept, the law of contrast and mystery. Human beings are naturally drawn to what they do not fully understand. We are curious creatures. We want to explore what feels different, rare, or slightly out of reach. When you are always present, always talking, always explaining yourself, you become easy to understand. And when something is fully understood, it slowly becomes less interesting. But when there is a little mystery, the mind stays engaged. There is a famous idea explained by Robert Greene. He says that people value what feels scarce. If something is always available, it loses its value. Think about it. If someone texts you all day, every day, with no pause, no space, you slowly stop feeling excited. It becomes normal. It becomes background noise. But if someone has a life, takes time, appears and disappears with purpose, you notice them more. This is not about ignoring people. It is about having a life that is bigger than just seeking attention. Stoicism teaches something called premeditation of problems. This means thinking ahead, understanding reality, and not being controlled by emotions. A stoic man understands that attention is not something to beg for. It is something that naturally comes when you build value within yourself. And part of that value is mystery. When you do not reveal everything about yourself immediately, people become curious. They want to know more. They invest mentally, and investment creates attraction. If someone gets everything easily, they do not feel the need to explore. But if there is depth, if there is something hidden, something not fully revealed, the mind keeps going back. This is where most men make a mistake. They try too hard to impress. They talk too much. They explain everything. They try to show their value instead of becoming valuable. But real value does not need constant explanation. It shows itself through behavior, through calmness, through control, through silence. And when you combine self-sufficiency with mystery, something powerful happens. You stop chasing, and people start noticing you without effort. This is the beginning of becoming someone who attracts naturally, not someone who begs for attention. The stoic man has already accepted something that most people are afraid to face. He knows that he can lose everything, even the person he loves, and still be okay. This does not make him heartless. It makes him free. And that freedom is powerful. When you are not afraid to lose, you stop acting out of fear. You stop trying too hard. You stop chasing. And people can feel this energy without you saying a single word. That is what makes it magnetic. A woman becomes deeply curious because she cannot easily understand what is going on inside such a man. There is calmness, but also strength. There is silence, but also presence. Let's imagine a real situation. You are at a party. Music is playing. People are talking loudly. Most men are trying to impress. One is talking about his money. Another is showing pictures of his car. Someone else is trying too hard to be funny. Now look at the corner of the room. There is one man who is quiet. He is not trying to prove anything. He speaks only when needed. He observes more than he talks. He is relaxed, not tense. Now ask yourself honestly, who stands out more? The loud man might get attention for a moment, but the calm man creates curiosity. People start noticing him. They start wondering about him. Mystery creates investment. When everything is easily available, there is no effort. And when there is no effort, there is no value. But when someone has to work a little to understand you, to get your attention, to see your real side, they start valuing it more. What is earned always feels more important than what is given freely. This idea connects deeply with the work of Carl Jung. He talked about something called the shadow. This is the part of us that does not try to please others all the time. It is the part that is strong, independent, and sometimes even dark. A man who appears calm and slightly distant often looks like someone who is in control of his shadow. He is not desperate for approval. He is not trying to be liked by everyone. And this signals strength. If a man can control his own impulses, if he can stop himself from chasing, reacting, or begging for attention, then it shows something deeper. It shows that he can also handle pressure, challenges, and difficult situations in life. That is why this kind of personality feels safe and attractive at the same time. Understand this clearly. Coldness is not the absence of love. It is the presence of character. Now let's move to the third concept, emotional stability. One of the core ideas of Stoicism is very simple but very powerful. There are things you can control, and there are things you cannot. A Stoic man focuses only on what he can control. He cannot control how someone feels about him. He cannot control whether someone replies fast or slow. He cannot control whether someone stays or leaves. But he can control how he reacts, and this is where most people fail. In modern psychology, there is something often called tests. These are small situations where someone unconsciously checks your emotional strength. For example, she replies late, or she cancels a plan, or she acts a little distant. An average man reacts immediately. He becomes anxious, he asks questions, he demands explanations. He tries to fix everything quickly. But in doing so, he shows emotional dependence. Now look at the Stoic man. If she cancels, he simply says, "That's fine, let me know if you want to reschedule." And then he continues with his life. No anger, no desperation, no overreaction, just calm acceptance. This response is powerful because it shows control. Marcus Aurelius once compared a strong person to a rock standing against waves. The waves keep hitting, but the rock does not move. It stays steady. This is exactly how emotional stability looks, and this stability creates attraction. Why? Because it is rare. Most people are easily shaken. Their mood changes quickly. Their behavior depends on others. But when someone stays calm under pressure, it sends a strong message. It says, "I am in control of myself," and that is a sign of leadership. When a woman feels that she cannot shake you emotionally, she starts seeing you differently. Not as someone who needs her approval, but as someone who has his own center. This creates respect. And where there is deep respect, attraction grows naturally. In a world where many men try too hard to please, apologize too quickly, and seek constant validation, the man who has boundaries stands out. He does not say yes to everything. He does not accept behavior that goes against his values. He does not chase attention. And because of this, his attention becomes valuable. His emotions are not easily available. They are not for sale. Now let's move to the fourth concept, the paradox of desire. Arthur Schopenhauer explained that life moves like a pendulum between pain and boredom. This idea also applies to relationships. At one extreme, there is chasing, too much effort, too much attention, too much availability. This creates pressure and eventually boredom. At the other extreme, there is complete absence, which creates distance and disconnection. The Stoic man finds balance in the middle. He does not chase, so he avoids becoming boring and predictable. But he is also present enough to create connection. This balance is rare, and rarity creates value. Here is something very important to understand. Obsession does not grow when everything is given. It grows in space. If you fill every moment with messages, calls, and constant attention, there is no room left for the other person to think about you. No space for imagination. No space for curiosity. But when there is space, the mind starts working. The Stoic man understands this deeply. He is not always available, not because he is playing games, but because he has a life. He has priorities. He has purpose. And because of this, his absence creates presence. When he is not there, she starts thinking about him. She starts wondering what he is doing. She starts imagining. And imagination is often stronger than reality. When people do not have full information, they fill the gaps with their own thoughts. And most of the time, they create an ideal version in their mind. This is how attraction grows without effort. Now think about attention. The average man gives attention freely. No matter what the other person does, he stays available. He rewards everything equally. But this creates a problem. If you reward average behavior with your time and attention, you will keep getting average behavior. The Stoic man is different. He gives attention when it is earned. If someone respects his time, he gives more of it. If someone shows genuine interest, he responds. But if behavior does not match his values, he pulls back. Not with anger, not with drama, just with quiet distance. This creates a natural system of value. People start realizing that his attention is not automatic. It must be earned. And what must be earned is always valued more. Slowly, the dynamic changes. Instead of you trying to win attention, the other person starts trying to stay in your world. And this is the shift that changes everything. Remember this powerful idea from Epictetus. He said, "Do not try to control everything around you. Instead, accept things as they happen, and you will find peace." This simple shift changes everything. When a man stops trying to control outcomes, he stops feeling anxious. He no longer worries about every message, every reaction, every small change in behavior. He becomes calm. And a calm man is a powerful man. Throughout history, power has always been attractive. Not loud power, not aggressive power, but quiet, controlled power, the kind that does not need to prove itself. When anxiety disappears, confidence appears naturally. Now we come to the most important part of this journey, the awakening of the inner warrior. This is where most people misunderstand everything. This is not about acting cold. It is not about pretending to be distant. It is not about wearing a mask during the day and removing it at night. Because fake behavior never lasts. People can feel it. Especially in social situations, humans are very good at sensing when someone is not being real. If you try to hide desperation behind fake calmness, it will show in your body language, your tone, your actions, and it will destroy attraction instead of building it. Real stoicism is not a performance. It is a way of living. It is a decision that your value is not something that changes based on someone else's attention. A strong man does not wake up thinking, "How do I get her attention today?" He wakes up thinking, "How do I improve myself today?" That is the difference. The reason a stoic man becomes attractive is not because he ignores people. It is because he has a purpose. He is building something. He is working on his goals. He is training his body. He is sharpening his mind. Because of this, he simply does not have the time or energy to chase endlessly. He is not sitting all day checking his phone, waiting for replies, overthinking messages. His life is already full. And this creates natural distance, not forced distance, real distance. This is what true coldness looks like. It is not emotional emptiness. It is focus. When your life becomes meaningful, people become a part of it, not the center of it. And this is where attraction changes completely. A woman does not become interested because you are silent. She becomes interested because you are free. Free from neediness, free from constant validation, free from emotional dependence. She wants to be part of a world that is already strong. Think about this image. No one wants to enter a broken house, a house with weak walls and a roof that might fall at any moment. It feels unsafe. But everyone is attracted to a strong fortress, something stable, something that has survived storms, something that does not break easily. Be that fortress. Build yourself in such a way that your emotional state does not depend on outside events. This is what the ancient Stoics believed. Not that you should stop feeling, but that you should not be controlled by unnecessary drama, not by overthinking, not by fear of losing someone, not by constant need for approval. This is real mastery, and it starts with a simple change in thinking. From today, stop asking yourself weak questions. Stop standing in front of the mirror and thinking, "Why is she not texting me? What am I doing wrong? How do I make her like me?" These questions make you smaller. Instead, ask better questions. How can I become 1% stronger today? How can I improve my skills? How can I build a life that I respect? These questions build you. Stop chasing her attention. Start chasing your own excellence. And here is the irony. The exact moment you stop worrying about whether she is thinking about you is the moment she starts thinking about you more. Because your energy changes. You stop being someone who revolves around others. You become someone who has his own center. Like the difference between a satellite and the sun. A satellite moves around something else, but the sun has its own gravity. Everything else moves around it. Become the sun. Most people never reach this level. They hear these ideas, but they go back to old habits. They go back to checking their phone every minute. They go back to seeking validation. They go back to anxiety. But you stayed. You listened. You understood something deeper. That silence can be powerful. That calmness can attract. That control over your own mind is the highest form of strength. The ancient Greeks had a word for this state of deep calm and unshakable peace: ataraxia. It means a mind that is not disturbed by fear, stress, or outside pressure. A mind that stays steady no matter what happens. This is the state you should aim for, not for others, but for yourself. Because when you reach this level, everything changes. Your decisions become clearer, your emotions become stable, your presence becomes stronger, and attraction becomes natural. So from today, make a quiet decision. Decide that your center will be within you. Decide that your reactions belong to you. Decide that your mind is your territory and you are in control of it. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to prove it. Just live it. And slowly, without effort, the world will start responding differently to you.